Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about the Storm King battle. We're going to be discussing tactics and strategies. This is largely for Meegs and for anybody else who is struggling with the Storm King, so that you guys can understand this fight better and know how to absolutely stomp it into the ground. Alright guys, if you love these videos, please use our supporter or creator code. It really helps us to keep on creating content and videos for you guys. So yeah, thank you so much for all the help. All right, let's rock and roll. Okay, so the Storm King battle. There's a few things to understand about the Storm King. He is largely a battle of melee damage. A lot of people are getting one-shot killed by him. A lot of people are getting wiped out by the different phases, and there is some basic just tactics that you need to understand going in order to survive and win. Okay, so one, with the hero loadouts, you can't win if you're dead. So in my mind, the most important thing that you can do is survive. Whenever I'm playing with noobs, whenever I'm playing with people who struggle and I don't really know what they're doing, I always suggest they go with Survivalist Jonesy, with the Blast from the Past team perk. That is the ultimate survival. It's the ultimate way to not die. Just, you know, rock Saurian hide for the extra armor, and put on Saurian claws for the extra melee damage. And that way you're running around with about 1,000,000 health, and you're regenerating a bunch of life every time you kill somebody. Now, the other thing that you have to remember is that you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need some AoE damage, and you're going to need some Miss Monster smashing power. So you're going to need one good single target physical damage weapon to deal with blasters and takers and smashers. Now, my personal favorite is the Bundle Bust. That thing completely melts blasters and takers into dust. It's really nice. It's really bursty, so you can jump around and then lock your target on, unload the whole shot into them, and then keep on moving. Hit and run tactics is really important, because you're going to have a whole bunch of husks running around trying to surround you and do a bunch of damage to you. And as long as you keep moving, you can almost ignore them the entire fight. The only enemies you can't ignore are takers and blasters. You might want to, slap a gunslinger now and then just to keep them from, sniping you down. But most of the other enemies can be avoided entirely. Now, when I'm fighting, you have a few different options with your builds, but the builds that you are building, you kind of have to understand some basic tactics. When you are fighting the crystal phases, if you have a really good team, you're going to smash those crystals instantly. Your whole team's going to target them. You're going to blow those crystals up. But even if you don't have enough damage, or your team can't aim, or for whatever reason you're struggling to destroy the crystals aren't dying, really fast, and you're running out of time, and it's switching phases and switching crystals, the crystals will build up damage over time. It will remember the damage that you did prior, so when that same crystal pops back up, that crystal is going to be damaged and injured, and you're going to have the opportunity to finish it off and do more damage. So it doesn't really super matter, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to kill those crystals, really. What does matter is that you kill the horns quickly. See, with the crystals, you're going to go from phase to phase, crystal to crystal, and fighting and fighting and fighting. But the horns, when you actually have to break the horns, that's when you really need to bring the damage. That's why I think that people should be using melee builds more than weapon builds. Weapon damage is fine and is nice, but it is not essential. Melee damage, good melee damage, is essential to this fight. If you don't wipe that horn out first try, you're in trouble. You are in big trouble. You're probably going to get one-shot killed by the Storm King for taking too long, right? When you pop that when you get that horn phase, you have to destroy that thing. You have to. There's no choice. If you fail, then you fail completely. So I highly suggest everybody, no matter what, bring anatomy lessons to the fight. Anatomy lessons is Whiteout Fiona's ability, and she gives you an extra 15 crit rate to swords, axes, and scythes. Now, when you're using weapons on this fight, the very first time that I beat it, I was using a Spectral Blade, and it worked fantastic because Spectral Blade does insane damage. It has a great build. Crit rate, crit damage, attack speed equals some serious pain. But since then, I've been told that axes actually get a damage bonus against buildings, and the crystals or the horns are considered building, structures. So axes are the most damaging weapon that you can use for this fight. The most damaging axe in the game, I believe, is the Wicked Wind. I have had incredible success with this weapon. It does humongous amounts of damage, and yeah, it really makes short work of this of the horn. Now, to really put this home further, like to really put the nail in the coffin, I've started using Special Forces as my hero class. The Special Forces character gives you an enhanced war cry. It does 25.5% additional weapon damage, which is huge because as soon as you get up to the horn and you start attacking the horn, you can pop your war cry and give a 12-second bonus to your team. War cry enhances your melee attack speed by 20%, and it enhances your weapon damage by 45%. 45% plus the additional 25.5% of the commander perk for Special Forces gives you a whopping 70.5% weapon damage and 20% melee attack speed for 12 seconds. That basically means that you automatically win by default instantaneously against the horn. You will just completely delete that horn so fast. The other thing you have to remember when going up to the horn is to communicate with your team to make sure everyone's building their own ramps up. Because if you have a single ramp up, your ramp is going to get taken out by some mist monsters and husks, and you're going to get knocked out of the sky, and you're just going to lose automatically because you won't be able to build up fast enough, to get that horn down. You need to make sure that you do not get knocked down. So to not get knocked down, everybody builds their own ramp up. It helps to go and create a floor, create a full box, and then ramp out of that box up into the sky and go after the horn. You can also use a double ramp if you want to make sure that you have a little bit more stability. But as long as everybody is building, your single ramp, 4 different single ramps should be enough, and they should all interconnect at the top, making it so that your ramps don't get knocked out of the sky, making for a very, very easy, relaxing experience taking out the horns. So those are some of the different tactics that you can use. Use axes. Use the Wicked Wind specifically. Have one person on your team responsible for bringing the war cry. Make sure it's a really, really powerful war cry. Use anatomy lessons. Everybody use anatomy lessons. Get that extra 15% crit rate. Using that extra 15% crit rate on the Wicked Wind specifically is a huge advantage because by using the anatomy lessons, it makes it so you don't even have to run crit rate on your Wicked Wind. The Wicked Wind is axes by default have really high crit rates to begin with. So with the Whiteout Fiona boost, you're actually at 42.5% crit chance without using any crit rate skills. So that means you can build a Wicked Wind using double crit damage, or you can throw crit damage and 1 attack speed on the weapon, and that will help you hit monster crits or put out faster crits, and just really pump up that damage as much as possible. So those are also other options. The other thing that you want to do when you're going into a Storm King battle is you want to make sure that you bring turrets and Adrenaline Rush. Turrets, because you want to not use the turrets at all. You want to save those turrets until you're in the final phase, and as soon as you break that second horn, your entire team drops all their turrets at the same time, 8 turrets, and you blow whatever cooldowns you have and just go crazy. You just pump the Storm King in the face until he dies. You should have such a massive burst of damage that you're able to kill him before he hits you with any AoE abilities or any, like, destroying, life-destroying, one-shot kill horribleness. So, that's really important. Use all your cooldowns for burst, right? Just relax, take your time, work your way through the experience, and then once you get to the key moments where you're like, okay, we need to kill the horns, that's when you pop your war cry. It's like, okay, we need to finish him off. Okay, that's when you pop all your turrets. Save your money shots for when it really, really matters. Right. Okay. Now, something else that you want to remember when you're going through this fight is damage prevention. So survival is the key to this fight. Not taking damage, not dying. A really, really good thing to keep in mind is campfires. Campfires are the ultimate way of keeping your health boosted up without having to have a lot of like Survivalist Jonesy style healing or whatnot. If you bring campfires to the battle, you can spam off 4 campfires and stand in the middle and like heal the pole in like seconds. Like their campfires are really, really powerful if you build them correctly, and they can be a really key element to surviving the fight. But there's more than that. Whenever you're seeing the Storm King, whenever he's about to shoot you with something, put up a wall, right? Put up a wall. You can block the damage from his shots. You might still get hit, but it will reduce the damage that you take by a dramatic amount. You can survive all kinds of stuff if you just wall up and block his shots. The other thing is, when he starts dropping meteors, you can just build a roof. You can build, you can go and throw up, roof pieces all over yourselves and block almost all the damage. Or, and this is a much better strategy, evade. Whenever the meteors start coming down, if you look at the ground, there will be black circles all over the floor. And they are very easy to dodge. As long as you are moving the entire time, this is even easier if you happen to have the Baron. The Baron is a movement speed hammer with 3 times movement speed, giving you the best movement speed in the game. If you have a movement speed weapon during this phase, you can easily outmaneuver the black shadows that are appearing all over the ground and avoiding all of the damage, making that phase extremely easy to survive. And that is the key to this battle, is just understanding the phases, understanding how to avoid taking a lot of damage from the different attacks and the different things. Build cover in front of yourself, block, right? Block the damage. Whenever he throws a rock, you move towards him, and the rock will sail over your head, and you'll be perfectly fine. If you get in nice and close, it makes it really, really easy to hit your shots. So you don't want to be standing around the outside. If you're standing too far around the outside, you're going to end up getting knocked off the map entirely, and that can be pretty embarrassing. So you don't want to do that. So yeah, you want to basically try to stick together. Try to stay fairly close to him. Try to pick a spot with one of the pieces of land. Stand on it with all your friends. Try all to stand together in the same place. That way you can all benefit from campfires. And you can benefit from protecting each other. But not only that, you can also keep the Storm King facing you. It's very important to keep the Storm King facing you because 90% of his crystals are visible from the front. They've added a crystal on his back, which you can either do one of two things. You can just skip it, or when you finally do see the crystal on his back show up, you can just you can split, right? Whoever the Storm King is looking at will just focus on killing all the adds and the enemies that are around you, and the people who are not being targeted by the Storm King can go and do a rush. They can rush around from the sides and get shots into the Storm King and do as much damage as they can and kill that crystal. So, two different, ways that you can deal with a crystal on his back. But other than that, you guys should always be sticking together. Travel in a group, move as a pack. That way you will always have the advantage of each other's help. If somebody gets hurt and dies, you can pick them up quickly. You can all target the crystals at the same time, and the Storm King won't be spinning in a circle trying to look at somebody, making it hard for the teammates to actually get targeted, on the crystals. That's a big thing that I found struggling in pubs, was the fact that everyone wants to run around like chickens with their heads cut off, and it causes the Storm King to spin and move and makes it very hard to hit the crystals. Or if everybody just stood in front of him, you delete the crystals in like 2 seconds, because he'd be perfectly still and he'd be an easy target and he would never move. So little things to recognize like that, how you can give your team an advantage position wise, where to stand, and how to do the most amount of damage really, really quickly. Now for weapons, I really enjoy using the bundle bus. The bundle bus is a fantastic weapon. I like to use it with a physical element. That way it does more damage, and it does more damage against physical enemies, which is really important when you're fighting against the blasters and the takers. And it does more damage against crystals because it's physical. Physical does more damage than elements. So that there is my number one go-to. But you have lots of options. You can use a Terminator. A Terminator does lots of damage. You can use a Candy Corn. Candy Corn is a physical weapon, so it'll do even more damage, and frankly has a better loadout. Crystals can't be affected by conditional damage, so Terminator isn't your best option. The Candy Corn, however, is not a conditional weapon. It's a double crit damage weapon, meaning it will do absolutely insane amounts of damage. Not to mention, it'll generate candies if you happen to be hitting enemies around you, though I don't recommend that. If you are fighting the Horde on this map for whatever reason, it's not really necessary, but if you need to fight the enemies, use something with AoE. Use a boom bow or a rocket launcher or something with AoE, something you can hit everything all at the same time, knock everything flying, and then allows you to refocus on the Storm King. And that's pretty much it. That's all the different tactics that you can use to push out the win, to get those victories. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's just some basic survival strategies. Use beefy characters, right? Use Blast from the Past. Hopefully you have that. Allow you to take a lot more hits and allow you to ignore your health a lot more while you're focusing on getting those, getting that damage on those crystals, or getting up on that horn and, really doing a lot of damage. With your hero loadouts, make sure you use Whiteout Fiona to get that crit rate. You can use Paleo Luna to get extra melee damage. Use one character with a war cry, and other than that, I think it's really helpful to use defensive skills, depending on how defensive that you feel that you need to be. If you are dying a lot, then you want to throw on Bomb Suit Kyle for extra armor, throw on Survivalist for extra healing, whatever it takes to survive. Use more campfires. You need to keep your health full at all times, all the time. And as long as you do that, you'll win. You'll always win. As long as your team is alive and healthy and constantly hitting the crystals, you're going to win. If you find that you're not having survival problems, you can tone down on the support squads and beef up your primary weapons, like your assault rifles. Start equipping more assault rifle damage weapons. Go with Rescue Trooper Ramirez for more assault rifle damage. Go with Tactical Assault Sledgehammer for more assault rifle crits. Right, you can beef up that damage. The more damage you do, the easier this encounter is going to be, right? Because you'll kill those crystals faster. That's the key. The faster the crystals go down, the easier this mission is. It's astounding. Like when you find a team that really does a lot of damage to the crystals, how easy this fight actually feels. It's only a struggle when your team is not hitting the crystal shots and not getting those instant kills. Like whenever I run with a top tier group, we are destroying the crystals first try every time. So we transition from the crystal phase to the melee phase very, very quickly, very effectively. And it saves us a lot of, a lot of having to survive, a lot of campfires, a lot of having to worry about the environment. It's everything becomes a lot easier when you're in it for a shorter period of time. So really focus on, getting those crystal kills quickly and efficiently, and everything will transition better. All right, guys, I really hope that this helps you understand all the different mechanics and all the strategies that you need to beat the Storm King and to really survive and complete these phases fast. It's not as hard as you think it is. I know a lot of people have been struggling to get their wins, Meegs included. She was the one who actually really pushed for me to create this video, because she's like, I just can't win. I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I'm having all kinds of problems, hitting my shots, surviving, getting, defeating the different phases and understanding, how to go about this. So that's why I made this video, is to help her and to help all the people like her that are struggling to get the Storm King wins, because it's actually extraordinarily easy if you understand the mechanics and you communicate effectively with your team. As long as you communicate effectively with your team, you guys know where to stand, you guys know when to strike. Yeah, you're gonna have no problem at all. You have the adrenaline rush, so that you don't actually have to stand around reviving anybody. You don't ever want to use it for healing. You want to save it for revives. That way you have 4 people who can revive on your team. So if something goes wrong and somebody gets exploded, you can just pop a revive really fast without having to stop your attack. So teamwork, teamwork, teamwork. Communicate always, and get those wins. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up. It really helps us grow the channel. Ring that bell for notifications, and of course, comment down below. I can't wait to see what your guys' thoughts are on this video and on this fight. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the comments. Thank you so much for being a part of the VASH Corps. I love you guys. Thank you for making this job possible. Thank you so much for watching my videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah!